Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the next demo in the series where we are working with XML data. Last demo we looked at how we could read XML data from an XML file, and I showcased you, as I discussed earlier, that XMLs are really the hot thing in the IT world because they contain data, static data that can easily be transformed and be transferred across various IT systems. So here we are looking at an XML file, and in this video we are going to write XML or append and edit data of this XML file. There are various ways we could do that. What are the various transactions we can do while appending XML? I've broken it down into various transactions. Let's look at what are those transactions. Meanwhile, I will invoke UFT, which is just a platform. Once again, I reiterate, you could be using a different system, you could be using a different uh, tool altogether, but as long as you're using VBscript, you can reuse my code which I'm going to write today. So QTP is only a medium I'm achieving this task. I could work without it also, but then this video will be too large, will bombard you with a lot of extra information. So here we are just concentrating on transforming and writing XML. So VB scripting is the only thing which is going to help us achieve what we are going to achieve from this exercise. Let's just open a new test. What we can write it as XML write test. Created a new action, new test in QTP. Meanwhile, let's look at our problem statement. So didn't get invoked. Let's look at why. Yeah, here we have the XLS file which is containing this. These are all, I've broken it down into all the transactions that could be broken down into working with XMLs. The first operation we could do is create a child node. So I can pass it the source XML file path, the destination. In this case, for our demo purpose, both the paths are the same, so we are going to rewrite and save the changed data into the same XML file, because both the source file and destination files are same. And next, since we are creating a child node, we need to tell our function what is the base path on which it will create the child node. This is the new node name I've passed. So these are the operations, these are the parameters to these operations for working with XMLs. So let's look at all these briefly. Create child node. Once again, clone node is another one of the functions which I'm going to show you. So this will create a clone of existing node in our XML file. So if we can look at this XML, I think it's here, yeah. So if I want to clone this, then it will be creating a same copy of this tag, this entire food too. Set node value, as we very well know. So every tag here, every tag here is contains a unique XPath, and if I'm giving it the XPath and I'm telling it what value I want to set to a XPath, let's say I say breakfast menu food to name, and I say this is my XPath, put tag value as, I don't want it something like this, I want something else, like here I mentioned jelly beans. This is going to create an entry of jelly beans on this XPath. So this covers this operation. Next we could set the attribute, as we very well know that each tag can have an attribute. Like this description tag has an attribute calories. We could be changing the value of an attribute, like I could change this 900 to something as, like say 350. So let's see, our test is open. We can start working. So to start off, I'm going to do my declarations of all the variables I'm going to use. Dim str write, so sheet name, could say str problem statement, try and make it more generic. I could just say str keyword file. Then we could say, so all these are operations, these are source file, these are destination file path. So all these are going to be parameters I'm going to use. I'm just going to declare them right now in QTP. So it's a bit boring, but a good exercise to follow to keep track of your code, because it decreases down the maintainability of your code. So it's a one-time effort. But it really helps you debug, and overall readability of the code improves a heck of a lot if you do this. Proper declarations, proper readability, and easy maintenance. So what are my I have covered source file, destination file, node path, node or attribute name, and similarly node or attribute value. These are some extra variables I'm going to use to import my files and work with them. And gonna make some initializations. So I've done with the declarations. Now I'm gonna make some initializations. So what is the sheet name? Sheet name is going to be this one. So this right here, I'll just copy from here, write it down here, copy paste. Now I'm going to import my file. Before importing, I need to create a new sheet. Use the same parameter name here. Also need to initialize this one. What is the keyword file path? So this is the path. Problem statements, gonna just copy from here. Dot xlsx. So now done with the importing of sheet. You could, if you don't know what this line does, you can always use Google. Now I'm going to write some statements of logic here. So this is how a normal code should be broken down. First do your declarations, then initializations, then statements. So I'm gonna use for loop to iterate through all of these operations. For doing that, I should know the row count first. Gonna say copy from here. Similarly, data table dot get sheet, this sheet dot get row count, this one. Now starts the for loop. I counter. Oops, didn't declare this one. In the middle of the code I realized. So I counter this, then this is correct, this is 1, and this is this one. Gonna set the first row to this one. So it's gonna set current row. So this is a for loop, and this line, what it does is it puts the execution counter to this row, then this row, then this row. Now all the parameters that we declared, these are going to change. Source file, destination file, these could change across all these, so need to initialize them within the for loop. Data table dot value, the parameter name, the sheet name. Could just copy the sheet name from here. And what will be this? This will be this one. So we could just copy from here. Could copy it from here. Similarly, all these, then edit it from here. So only the heading is changing, the rest of the code will remain the same. Only the column header is different, so I'm gonna change that for every initialization. str return, and I'm going to point it to a function. So this will be util write XML function. So this is going to pass all these. So I have to implement this function. This is the main business logic of how to write XML data. Right, so we have reached the business end of our code. So you can see I've read all the data from my problem statement Excel, and then I'm going to push all this data to one reusable repeatable function which is going to perform all these operations, capable enough to perform all these operations to my XML, which is create child node, clone node, set node value, set attribute value. Right, so I've declared this function, and now I need to define it. Where I'm going to define it, I'm going to define it to a VBscript file. Could do it here, but the best solutions are always the open source solutions, and VBscript is the most open kind of script I could write. Let's just write xml.vbs. I'm gonna say create, and I'm also gonna associate it with my test. Convert relative path, yes. Once again the same flow. First of all, the declarations, str error, then my function. Also, if you notice, why is this here? Because I like to return errors from my functions when I pass control to them. So if you see, I have passed a blank value as the error here after all these parameters, and then I'm gonna whatever errors I'm gonna get in my script, I'm gonna put them in this file, this placeholder. So I'm gonna say function util. I could just copy the name from there actually. Right, so could just say str error here. Gonna say initialize and declare some more local variables to this function, which is going to be mostly XML specific variables. So I'm gonna say XML doc, gonna say obj old node, because I'm gonna convert few nodes. So I'm gonna say the original node was old node. I'm gonna refer to the new node, to the transformed node. This is just a errors handling thing that I like to use in my code. Gonna say on error resume next. Then now to the business end of the code. Now what exactly I need to do? I need to first create a connection to this XML, then get to these nodes using their XPath, transform their values, transform their attribute values, clone them sometimes. So let's do all that, the business logic. So gonna say business logic starts. XML doc create object. What kind of object I need? I need to create Microsoft.xml DOM. This will create a document object model kind of a object of this XML. Now I need to get a connection to it. What kind of connection? A synchronous connection. So I need to set the property of this connection, XML doc.async is equal to false. Then I'm gonna load the XML. So dot load. Which one? This one. This is the source file path. This one. So I'm opening a connection to this source file here. Gonna just put a comment here. Connection to XML source XML opened. Now need to handle a different logic for these different transactions. So what could it be? So briefly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of transactions. Could use a select case logic here. Select case, ucase, trim, so that a mismatch of uppercase, lowercase, or blank values to the sides don't affect our code. So gonna copy paste this. This is the operation. Then case, the first one, how we handle the first one. This first one is create child node. What are we gonna say? Set obj parent. Oh, we didn't initialize this one, so let me just do that quickly. Obj parent obj parent node. Set obj parent node is equal to XML So if you can see here, this is the node path. So all I'm doing in this first transaction here is creating a food3 node at this object parent node, which is this one. So breakfast menu, if you look at our XML file, this is the parent, this is child. So if I create a new node, food3, so at this parent value it will create food1, food3 and food3. So this is going to create a new one, food3, in the same hierarchy. So let us do that. XML doc dot select single node. What is the path? This one. Copy, paste. Now if object parent node is nothing, then do something. Str error in error in error in performing, whoops, this operation. For path, let's say for x path, which x path? This one. Then the else logic for this. So if in the happy scenario here, what if we do find this parent variable, parent node here? So what our code is going to do, it is going to create a new node at this parent level. So let's just say set obj new node is equal to obj parent node dot not quite actually, cannot do it directly here. What we are going to do first is going to create a XML element, then only we can append a child. So let's do that first. XML doc create element. Which element? Just passed from this name value, which is this one. Let's do this very quickly. Now we can append it because we have created a element of XML type. Now you have to even say what level you want it. So you want it at breakfast menu. Create a new XML element. Then I'm gonna say obj parent node dot append child. Now this statement is only creating this element, but this next statement is going to tell it where exactly it needs to put it. So if I mention to the parent append this child, and I'm going to say this child. we're done with this case. The next case we are dealing with is clone node. Clone node, all this clone node does is create a clone. If I say clone node food2 and I mention this food2 path, xpath, then it creates a exact same copy of this whole XML here. It creates a new copy of this one. Let's see how it does that, how our code handles it. Set obj old node. So here you're gonna see why I've used two variables, old node and new node, because the old node means the one which needs to be cloned, and the new node will be the one which gets created as new one. Similarly, gonna say the same thing. Select the single node, which is going to be this one. So as I said, we are cloning this one, food2, we are cloning. Similar logic here, but in this case we're going to check for errors in old node creation. Down to the happy scenario now. What if this old node is present? Then what our code needs to do is create a new node. Set obj new node is equal to old node dot clone node. Set this operation as true. Then you want it at which level again, you need to mention. So I'm gonna again use the parent to create a new child. So all I'm gonna do here is parent will be the same parent of this old node. So old node dot parent node. This is a property of a node type of object, XML node object. So this function gets me the parent node, and now I'm gonna say the same thing. Obj parent node dot append child new node. So we're done with another case. What is the next transaction? Next transaction is set node value. Let's see how we can do that. Gonna say, oops, the caps is on. Let's switch it off. The same thing. Set old node. Check for the same error. Then what I'm gonna do is just change the property. This is the property, text property of this tag that we have got, and set this text property of this tag as the new value that's been passed. It's very quickly done with another case. Now to the last one, set attribute value. What we're gonna need is the description, is the node path, the node name, attribute name, that is. So in description we'll see we'll definitely have an attribute that's called calories, and we are going to change its value to 350. Let's see. Yes, in food 1 description, we have the attribute calories, and the value is 600 right now. We're going to change it to 350. Let's see. Set attribute value, same code. Gonna use copy paste once again. What do we have here is j old node dot set attribute, which is a function of a node level kind of an object, and it just gets passed two things, which attribute and which value. So this attribute and this value. So in case we need to do some error handling here, in case we get a junk value, none of these transactions gets passed to this function. How we can handle it? We have to say str error invalid operation value passed, and which will be this one. So now done with all this. Then once we have changed the data, we need to save it. So let's say xml doc.save. Save it to where? This destination path. This is passed from this value. Let's copy this. Oops. So if you see, we had switched off the error handling of QTP. Now we need to switch it back on before leaving the function. Error go to 0. This switches on the QTP error handling. Error.description. So if some error occurs during these lines of execution above, then definitely this error.description won't be null. In that case, what I want you to do is to say error in function, this one, and this error description. What if no error had occurred? Then just say as str ret value is equal to step passed in case something had occurred, then return value will be step failed. With this str error, so I need to deinitialize all the initialized objects. I need to clear the runtime memory, so let's do that. Clear runtime objects, because it's not like .NET, there's no garbage collection here. Obj parent node, set is at nothing, again set obj old node, similarly nothing, similarly obj new node is equal to nothing, set XML doc gain is equal to nothing. So done. Finally, I think we're true. Util underscore write XML. What it's going to pass? Going to pass this return value. So it's time to run this. I think we're very much done with our coding. No, we need to handle. How are we gonna handle? We need to handle what we do next. We need to save these results somewhere, right? So what do? This str return. So this value, whatever it is, we're going to return this function as this is going to return this, and this is getting set from here. So we're gonna put this value somewhere. We're gonna put it in the data table also. So our runtime data table will look like this. This will be picked up from here, output value. And this will be this one. So every time this function gets called, the value from this function gets returned. Whatever step passed and step failed gets set here. Now we need to save this whatever changes we made to this Excel sheet. We need to save them somewhere. Where are we gonna save? We're going to save to a results folder, this one, the same logic which we used in the last video. We're gonna use save this Excel sheet as result underscore some random value, so that it doesn't replace the previous Excel file. So for creating that random variable, we are going to use randomize and random functionality in QTP. Let's see what is that. Randomizer. Oops, didn't take this. Yeah, it is randomize. str random. So this randomize, what it does is it doesn't repeats the random values. What it does is it starts the random numbers from an unknown value, whereas if you keep just using the random function of QTP, it returns you the same sequence of random numbers. So to have a new sequence every time, use this randomize before using random function. So let's just say 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh into random. Now this will return me an integer value. No, it will not. It will. I need to typecast this to an integer, and then I further typecast this to a string because I need to concatenate it to a file name value. CSTR. Now what do? Data table dot export sheet, because I'm exporting a specific sheet. To which path? I need to mention here d : /UFT test. Let's just copy the path from here. Result underscore n percentile str random, and then dot xls, and which sheet need to mention. It will be this sheet. So yeah, very much done with the function. So let's see what outputs we get. Do we get any errors? Let's just say F5 run. Oops, before that we need to close this, otherwise it will throw an error. Don't save. You need to close the Excel file but not this XML, because it's an out process thing, in process out process thing. You can the XML don't get affected if they are open, but Excels do. Well, seems to be a happy scenario. Let's see what results we have got. This is the newest sheet. So, oops, everything passed. So let's see how our destination XML looks like. We're here. This data. This is the Excel file. Close the previous one because it's been changed. So I've opened the same destination XML. It should be giving a different look and feel now, which there must be something which have been added to it. Let's see. Yep, it's open now. So what was the first transaction that got performed? A child node was added at this path. breakfast menu path, and food 3 was added. Has it been added? Breakfast menu, and its child is food 3. Great. And again, the next transaction, create child node, breakfast menu food 3 level, name was added, breakfast menu, its child was food 3, and name got added. Great. Then a node was cloned. Let's see, food 2 was cloned. Has it been cloned? Food 2 is here, and we have a copy of food 2 here. So, success. Set node, a node value was changed, food 3 name was changed to jelly beans. Let's see. Food 3, it must have been blank, it's been changed to jelly beans. Great. An attribute was changed then, the last transaction. Breakfast menu, food 1, description, calories 350. Is it 350? Yep, it is 350. Breakfast menu, food 1, description, calories 350. Great. So this is how, these are some of the transactions that will help you change and edit XML files. Thanks very much, and you can contact me. You put your feedback to this video in the comments. Definitely leave some feedback. It just encourages us. And thank you very much for attending this video. See you very soon with a new video. Also, don't forget, you can reach me at lakshtyagy@gmail.com. Put your feedback, put your queries there. Definitely I will reply, if not immediately, then very soon. I do read all my emails. Thank you very much. See you soon.